My husband's father insisted he handle our finances, claiming, "Women don't need to worry about money." When I refused, he smirked, "Then don't expect support." My husband sighed, "It's easier this way." Months later, his father tried to access our accounts and realized too late what I had done. Okay, so I never expected to be in this situation. I thought my husband and I were partners in every sense of the word. I thought we'd make decisions together, especially when it came to money. Turns out I was wrong. I should have seen the red flags earlier. Maybe I did, and I just ignored them. But when I got married to Alex, I didn't think I was also signing up for his father, Richard, to treat me like I was some helpless idiot who needed a man to handle things for me. Richard was the kind of guy who believed women belonged in the home, not in a boardroom. It didn't matter that I had a degree in accounting, worked a full-time job, and knew more about finances than his entire family combined. To him, I was just a woman, and that meant I shouldn't be involved in serious matters like money. I thought Alex didn't share his mindset. I really did. He never acted like that when we were dating. Sure, he was a little passive when it came to making decisions, but I figured he just trusted me. What I didn't realize was that he was so used to letting his father call the shots that he didn't know how to function any other way. It all started right after we got married. We were sitting in Richard's massive leather-clad office, because of course he had an office in his house, even though he was retired, and he was swirling a glass of whiskey like he was some kind of Wall Street tycoon. "In our family," he said, "all smug and condescending, the men handle the money." I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. "That's nice," I said, "but Alex and I will handle our finances together." Richard didn't like that. He gave me this smirk like I was a child who just said I wanted to be an astronaut when I grew up. "Then don't expect any support." That's when I realized he wasn't just offering advice, he was issuing an ultimatum. Either I let him and Alex take control of our money, or I'd be on my own. Alex sighed. "It's easier this way," he muttered. Easier for who? Because it sure as hell wasn't easier for me. At first, it was little things. Alex would forget to tell me about bills he paid or money he moved between accounts. He started making financial decisions without me. It was always, "Oh, Dad thought this was a good idea," or "Dad says we should do it this way." I tried to brush it off. I told myself it wasn't a big deal. But then I noticed something. Our savings account, our joint savings account, was missing $15,000. I confronted Alex about it. "Where the hell did the money go?" "Oh," he said, like it was nothing. "Dad moved it into an investment." I just stared at him. "What do you mean Dad moved it?" He said it was a smart move. He's always handled the family's investments. I felt sick. "And you just let him?" Alex looked at me like I was the crazy one. Why wouldn't I? That was the moment I knew. I was married to a man who would always choose his father's authority over my partnership. So I stopped fighting it. At least, that's what I let them think. I opened a personal bank account. Quietly. Moved my direct deposit over. Every paycheck from that moment forward went into my private account instead of our joint one. I didn't say a word about it. But I wasn't done. I gathered every financial statement, every transaction, every email that mentioned Richard making financial moves without my consent. Screenshots, bank statements, even text messages. I documented everything. And then I waited. Because I knew Richard wasn't done either. For a while, things were quiet. Too quiet. Alex didn't notice that my paychecks had stopped going into the joint account. If he did, he didn't say anything. Maybe he just assumed money was tight, or maybe he wasn't paying attention. Either way, I let him believe everything was normal. Richard, though? Richard was waiting for something. I could feel it. Then, one night, Alex casually mentioned that his dad had another investment opportunity lined up. "Don't worry," he said, chewing on his dinner like we weren't discussing our money. "Dad says it's low risk, high reward." I dropped my fork. "How much this time?" He shrugged. "Not sure. But Dad needs access to the joint account again." And there it was. I played dumb. "Oh, that's fine. I think the bank put some extra security on the account. They might call me before approving any big transfers." Alex didn't even blink. "Yeah, that makes sense. I'll let Dad know." I smiled, but inside, I was boiling. Richard was planning to drain our account again, and Alex was just letting him. But this time, I was ready. The next day, I went to the bank in person. I explained the situation, without giving too much away, and made sure that Richard wouldn't be able to touch a single cent. "Freeze the account," I said. "If anything over $100 gets pulled, call me immediately." The banker nodded. "Understood, ma'am. We'll notify you right away." That night, I sat back and waited. Sure enough, 3 days later, I got a call. "Mrs. Taylor?" The bank rep sounded cautious. "There was an attempt to transfer $20,000 from your joint account. We flagged it as suspicious." I almost laughed. Who initiated it? The request came from Richard Taylor. Of course it did. That evening, Alex walked in, completely unaware of what had happened. He kissed me on the cheek, sat down on the couch, and turned on the TV like everything was fine. I waited. 5 minutes later, his phone rang. I could hear Richard yelling through the speaker. What the hell happened? The bank won't let me transfer the money. They froze the damn account. Alex frowned. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Then his eyes flicked to me. I raised an eyebrow. Slowly, he put the phone down. Did you do something? I leaned back in my chair, completely calm. Do what, exactly? Alex swallowed. The joint account. Why is it frozen? Probably because someone's been pulling large amounts of money out of it without my consent. Richard was still yelling on the phone. Fix this, Alex. No. Alex ran a hand through his hair. Look, just call the bank and tell them to release it. Dad needs that money for the investment. I let the silence stretch between us. No, Alex blinked. What? I folded my arms. No. I'm not unfreezing anything. Now Alex was the one who looked like he might explode. Sophie, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. Am I? I tilted my head. Because I don't remember agreeing to let your father gamble away our savings. Alex pinched the bridge of his nose. It's not gambling. It's an investment. I scoffed. Oh yeah? What's the return on this investment? Did he give you any actual numbers? Silence. I laughed bitterly. That's what I thought. Richard was still ranting through the phone. Give the phone to Sophie. Now. Alex hesitated. Maybe you should just talk to him. I have nothing to say to him. I stood up. But I think you should tell him that our money is off limits. Alex didn't answer. And that's when I knew he wasn't just in over his head. He knew his father was using him. And he didn't care. I needed to move faster. Over the next few days, I dug deeper into Richard's investments. I didn't just want to block his access, I wanted to expose him. And that's when I found it. A paper trail. Richard had been pulling money from multiple accounts, not just ours. Alex's older brother? His savings were nearly gone. His mom? She had no idea that Richard had drained half of her retirement fund. I sat there, staring at the numbers, feeling my stomach drop. This wasn't just bad money management. This was theft. And Richard had been doing it for years. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the numbers on my screen. My hands were shaking not from fear, but from pure rage. Richard hadn't just been dipping into our account. He had been stealing from everyone. Alex's brother, Daniel? His savings had been drained over the course of 2 years. His mother, Susan? She thought she had a comfortable retirement fund waiting for her. She didn't. Richard had bled her account dry. And then there was the biggest discovery. A business loan, taken out in Alex's name, for $50,000. My heart slammed against my ribs. I scrolled through the documents, my pulse hammering. The loan had been approved 6 months ago. The payments? Automatically deducted from our joint account, which meant Richard had been using our money to cover the repayments without Alex even noticing. And the worst part? The loan had defaulted last month. I checked the fine print. The remaining balance was still over $40,000. And guess who was on the hook for it? Alex. Not Richard. Alex. My whole body went cold. This wasn't just a bad investment. This was fraud. That night, I didn't say a word. I cooked dinner like everything was normal. I even smiled when Alex made some dumb joke about his coworker. But inside, I was seething. And then Richard called. I put my fork down and watched as Alex answered, putting it on speaker. Richard was furious. Alex, what the hell is going on? The bank says they flagged a transaction and now they're investigating. They froze the damn account again. Alex frowned. Investigating? What are you talking about? Richard let out a frustrated growl. Sophie must have called them again. That woman is ruining everything. I felt my jaw tighten. Alex rubbed his forehead. Dad, can you just calm down? What transaction got flagged? Richard hesitated. Then, in a much lower voice, he muttered, the loan payment. I saw the exact moment Alex's brain short-circuited. His eyes flicked to me, then back to the phone. Loan payment, he repeated, like he didn't understand the words. Richard sighed like he was talking to a slow child. Yes, the business loan. The one in your name. The blood drained from Alex's face. What do you mean my name? Oh, this was better than I could have planned. I leaned back in my chair, watching it all unfold. You took out a loan in my name? Alex shouted, standing up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. Richard sighed again. Look, it's not a big deal, not a big deal. Alex's breathing was sharp and uneven. Are you serious right now? When the hell did I sign for a loan? There was a long, terrible silence. Then Richard spoke, his voice eerily calm. I had to do it, son. The bank wouldn't approve it under my name. I had to clamp my mouth shut to stop myself from laughing. This idiot admitted it. On speaker, Alex looked like someone had hit him in the stomach. He sank back into his chair, gripping his hair. Dad, you committed fraud. Richard snapped. Watch your mouth, boy. I did this for the family. I've been handling finances for years, and you're acting like some ungrateful brat. I had heard enough. I grabbed Alex's phone and hung up. He just sat there, staring at the blank screen like he didn't even know where he was. And then, slowly, he turned to me. Sophie, he said, his voice hoarse. Did you know? I took a deep breath. I found out today. His hands were shaking. What do we do? I almost felt bad for him. Almost. But this was the man who let his father control our money. The man who told me to trust Richard. The man who let this happen. So I looked him in the eye and said, We don't do anything. I do. Richard had no idea what was coming. After I ended the call, Alex just sat there, his face pale, his hands gripping his head like he was physically holding himself together. I didn't comfort him. He wasn't the victim here. We weren't the victims. I wasn't just going to let Richard get away with this. I was going to ruin him. And I knew exactly how. The next day, I made a few phone calls. First, I called the bank. I forwarded every document I had, every sketchy transaction, every email that mentioned unauthorized transfers. I wanted it on record that Richard had been fraudulently using our money. Then, I called Daniel, Alex's brother. Sophie, he answered, sounding confused. What's up? Richard stole from you. Silence. What? I didn't sugarcoat it. Your savings. He's been pulling from it for 2 years. You need to check your accounts. I heard a rustling noise, followed by the sound of furious typing. Then, a sharp intake of breath. Oh my God, Daniel whispered. What the hell is this? He did the same to us. And to your mom. Daniel cursed. Are you kidding me? That's her retirement fund. She trusts him. She won't for long. Because I was about to expose everything. Richard was throwing a dinner party that night. Just family and a few of his business friends. He loved playing the part of the wise patriarch, the man who had built his empire from the ground up. I decided that was the perfect stage to destroy him. Alex didn't fight me when I told him we were going. He was still in a daze, still trying to process that his father had been lying to him for years. When we arrived, the house was buzzing with conversation. Richard was in his element, laughing with his golf buddies, whiskey in hand. His wife, Susan, was happily chatting with guests, oblivious to the financial wreckage Richard had left in his wake. I spotted Daniel near the kitchen. His jaw was tight, his hands clenched into fists. He had seen the bank statements. He knew. We made eye contact. I nodded. Game time. Richard spotted us and grinned. Ah, my boy and his lovely wife. Come in, have a drink. I smiled sweetly. Oh, I think we should all get a drink. We have a lot to discuss. Richard chuckled. Oh, something exciting? I tilted my head. You could say that. Daniel cleared his throat. Loudly. Hey, Dad? I checked my accounts today. The room quieted. Richard's grin faltered just a little. Oh! And? Daniel stepped forward. Turns out I'm missing about $70,000. A few murmurs spread through the guests. Richard let out a forced laugh. Son, I told you, I made some investments on your behalf. Oh, really? Daniel's voice was sharp. Because the bank thinks it was theft. Susan, still smiling, looked between them. What's going on? I folded my arms. Oh, you'll love this, Susan. Turns out your husband has been stealing from all of us. Including you. Her face fell. What? I turned to the crowd. Let's break it down, shall we? Richard drained our joint savings. He took out a business loan under Alex's name. He's been moving money from all of your accounts without your knowledge. I gestured to Susan. He drained half of your retirement fund. Did you know that? Her eyes widened. Richard? Richard's smile was gone. His face was flushed. Now hold on, don't. I cut him off. We have proof. Bank statements. Emails. And we're reporting everything. A ripple of shock went through the guests. Some of his friends started shifting uncomfortably, exchanging glances. Susan stepped closer to him. Tell me it's not true. Richard tried to keep his voice steady. Honey, I was just reallocating the money, without telling anyone. Daniel snapped. You lied to me. Susan's voice broke. You said our money was safe. I trusted you. Richard's face was pure panic now. You don't understand. It's just a temporary setback. I stepped forward, my voice deadly calm. It's fraud. And then I dropped the final bombshell. The bank is launching an investigation. This isn't just a setback, Richard. This is a crime. Gasps filled the room. And for the first time in his life, Richard looked scared. Richard tried everything to fix it. He begged. he shouted. He even tried to blame Alex. You let her do this to me, he snapped at him later, after the guests had awkwardly left. You let your own wife, tear this family apart. Alex just looked at him, hollow-eyed. You tore it apart. Susan packed a bag that night. She wasn't ready to talk, but she left. Daniel cut off contact completely. As for Alex, he broke down. He kept apologizing, kept saying he didn't know, that he should have listened to me, that he didn't realize how deep it went. I believed him. But I also knew I could never trust him again. So I did what I should have done months ago. I filed for divorce. The bank moved fast. They froze Richard's assets. The fraud investigation escalated quickly. And the business loan? Since it was in Alex's name, Richard assumed we would be the ones stuck with it. Too bad for him. I had already spoken to the bank's fraud department. They found forged signatures on the paperwork. And guess what that meant? Full liability on Richard. He lost everything. His money, his house, his family. And then came the cherry on top. Richard was arrested for financial fraud. And when the cuffs clicked around his wrists, when they dragged him out of his precious home, I looked him straight in the eye and said, I told you I'd handle my own money.